Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode about Talk About It Tuesday. My name is Angelica Zadak, and today we have an incredible guest that I have the pleasure of knowing and getting to see every week, Anthony. Hi, Anthony. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. How about you?
Pretty well. You know, it's
Good.
a happy Tuesday. It's a happy Tuesday.
Yeah, it is a happy Tuesday, isn't it? My goodness, it really is.
The best of Tuesdays, some would say.
Some would say.
Yeah. And I'd like to give some of that credit to the fact that we're here together today. I get to talk to you today, so that makes it a pretty happy Tuesday.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah. All right. Good. Excellent. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
We're really happy to have you. I'm really excited getting to know you, our conversations off screen and through the different weeks. I've gotten to know you and you're pretty incredible. So I'm really excited to have you. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. How would you describe yourself?
Yeah. Well, I would describe myself as a person that finally figured out what I am here to do and what I love to do. And that is to be an actor and do improv and do some stand-up comedy. And I also am a family man, right? So I'm raising three daughters and I have an awesome position. I guess many would call it a day job, but it's been my career for the past couple of decades. And that is working in the software community, working with aeronautical engineers and working in the engineering field. So I get to work with software that I completely love. And then early in the morning and at night, I take a crack at, writing my own scripts and I do some auditions. And then I do improv with you actually at Second City, and I've done improv at Upright Citizens. And then I write my own skits and I do stand up at Comedy Pals. So I firmly believe that, for me anyway, when you're going for something that people consider their passion or their destiny or something like, I have to do this. If I don't do this, I'm gonna go crazy. I personally have figured out for myself anyway that you have to have a pretty strong career to not only help finance it, but take off some of that pressure. I've seen many artists where they get a lot of pressure, and it's like if they don't get that audition, if their bit doesn't go well, then they can't pay the rent. And I personally think that puts a lot of pressure on artists instead of saying, hey, I can also find something I like to do enough where I can make some good enough money to help fuel some of the things I'm doing, like take classes or, get new headshots or get a new reel made. Or what I am doing is I am putting together my own film that's going to come out in a few months, and that will take money. So there's a long way of saying, I guess there's a few different angles to me.
And that's so incredible. We've talked about this before a little bit, and it's so funny that so many of us think that we can't have a job on top of doing our passion or doing an art. And you're kind of an awesome example of how to make it possible and the benefits of doing it too. And some people think too that once you do have a job, it's like it's a stop point. I can't do the thing anymore. But you've passed the blockade, and that's a great example for a lot of people who are starting out and trying to figure out which one. Why do you have to pick one necessarily?
Yeah, I really think like the truth is, the truth comes out if you really want it, right? Because I personally think that if you can start a small business or have a good job and work your way up with a little bit more responsibility, a little bit more power, it actually gives you more freedom. And I know many of my friends like, no, I got to take a job where it's an easier job, waiting tables or bartending, stuff like that. It's like, no, because then you have to answer to a lot of people and you're not respected for your knowledge or your profession or your business, right? I mean, if you're an artist, you're probably creative. So you can find something you can create, and then you can kind of build your hours or become so skilled that you're able to be able to do both. And it is possible. You have to work at it. And the truth comes out if you really do love this and you really want to, whether it be a musician, an artist, being, a painter or an actor, it doesn't go away. Like it doesn't, like I've almost wished actually a couple of years ago, I had an audition go, it was a callback and I was like, I got this, man, I got it. And it was I was going to be a leader, like an Arians leader. So I decided, I sat back, I'm like, well, what would he do? I'm like, you know what he would do? He would shave his head. So I went to my barber and I shaved my head completely. And I know it was a bad idea. Like, and I went down to like a number one, which is basically a buzz cut.
Uh-huh.
And I walked into the audition and I was ready for it. I was all set. I memorized my script, took probably 6-7 hours writing out who my character was.
Yeah.
And I go in, I was like 2-3 lines in. They're like, hey, thank you so much, Anthony. And I'm like, yeah. Like, it took me a second to realize, like,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, we're looking for something completely different. And I was like, oh, wow. And I learned right then and there that it was like, hey, you got to be prepared for that, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I kind of wish that, you don't wish this on anybody. You'll hear a lot of people say that. And I never understood it until I got to the point where it's like, it is a hard road to go. So love the whole entire process. You'll hear that a lot, and it's true. So now I actually do love the process. And I'm like, oh, wow, I get to be like a banker for like an hour. If I don't get the part, the auditioning part, I'm starting to actually love and not to take it so serious. So
That's so awesome to hear, because it's difficult to think that, like you said, so many hours put into this part that you want to get, and in seconds it could be gone, or you could get it, but it could be gone in a flash. And
that's
I'm kind
right.
of wondering too, you have this great job, you have a great family, you
Mm-hmm.
have this wonderful life set for yourself. And you talked about a little while ago being hit by the acting bug. When did it really start for you? When did you really know that you wanted
Yeah.
to pursue the arts?
So interestingly enough, when I moved out, we came out from New York and we moved to San Diego, and I got into a place called Toastmasters.
Mhm.
And I did it because we were stuck in a hotel for like 5 weeks. I'm like, man, I need to start networking. So I didn't really know what Toastmasters was, but it was a public speaking organization.
Right.
And so naturally, I'm a pretty good speaker because I get up and I present in front of, NASA and Boeing and some huge companies where I present very complicated aspects of software that we have to get a point across. So naturally, I love presenting. I love being in front of the room. So I became their competition speaker, and I did really well.
Oh,
And yeah,
cool.
and I got into humor speech competition, and I got all the way to the end. Now this goes on for months, right? There's thousands of speakers included in this, and I made it all the way to the top 6. Go to Qualcomm, and I still to this day I still feel like I won. I really do. And I had this awesome speech that was real, and it was like talking about moving from the East Coast, driving from the East Coast to the West Coast with 3 daughters, a Jewish wife, and a 100-pound Rottweiler in our Suburban. No joke. I mean, anything that could possibly have happened would have happened. And I told this story. And when you write a speech, you'll learn that you actually write it, deliver it, write it again, and you get it to the point where it's perfect. And it
Mhm.
looks like it's raw. It looks like I'm getting up there just telling a story, but it's perfectly honed. And so I really thought I won, but I didn't that day, right?
Mhm.
And made it to the top 6. My whole family was there. I lose. Oh, I didn't lose. I just didn't win. But there's a big
Mhm.
difference between winning and,
Right.
not.
The other winning. Yeah.
So I on the way out, this guy, there was something about him, walked up to me and he's like, hey kid, I'm not a kid, right? He just turned well, not a kid. Hits me on the shoulder. He goes, I'm telling you, you're the most entertaining speaker on that stage today. I go, yeah, thanks. He goes, no, you really were. I mean, you got the most laughs. Did you notice that? I go, not really, because like when I'm in it, I'm in it. He goes, well, you did. He's like, you got like belly laughs. And he goes, and it was a humor speech competition. He's like, did different characters, you have different voices. He goes, it just, I think you should be an actor. Like you could have your own sitcom. Like you can play
Wow.
anything. Like you have that look. And I'm like, you know what, man? I appreciate you, but I'm a speaker. I'm not an actor. He goes, all right, well, whatever. But I watched him walk away, and there was something. I know money when I see it, so I could tell by his shoes and his belt and his walk. There was something. I don't know who he was to this day, but it stuck in my head. And then I asked the second person who I know, who's from New York. He is a professional public speaking coach.
Mhm.
And I asked him, I'm like, yo, Todd, you were there, man, and I want your feedback. I'm not sensitive, but do you think I
Honest.
won?
Yeah.
He's like, no. He's like, I think you took probably second or third. He's
Uh-huh.
like, because your audience was a different type of group. Your audience was older. They didn't
Um,
really appreciate what you were, even though it was awesome. He goes, but honestly, I really think you should be an actor. And when he said that to me a second time, I decided to go visit an acting school. and just for the heck of it, try a script. And the first time I read a script, oh, like I don't want to sound corny, but like I almost cried. I didn't realize that the actor was the one that got to define, like, do I talk like this, or, does he stand like this the entire time? Does he chew gum? What kind of food does he eat? Is he gay? Is he bisexual? Is he heterosexual? Is he married? I didn't realize I got to build this whole story. And so I went through an acting class, and after a month of coming into this fantasy world, like I know I was no longer dad. I didn't have 3 daughters. I wasn't married. I wasn't from New York or California. It was just addicting. And then that's what happens to a lot of artists. I think they get that first taste. And then what I would have told myself early on is like, listen, man, don't pay attention to the process. Go through this like business. Understand, just like me, when I get to deliver, I still have to put together the PowerPoint. I have to invite people. I have to do background checks. I have to understand who they are, what they're looking to do. I have to read pages and pages of documentation. What kind of plane are they trying to build? Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
But then the lights go on. I get to deliver the presentation. I understand that process because I've been doing it since 1990. So now I get that after I went through a few years of a couple of punches to the lip and stuff, and say, all right, Aunt, there's a process, and here's what it is. And you, to me personally, have to understand it as best as you can. Get coaching, start doing it well, but be non-emotional about it. Put all your emotion into your auditions and stuff like that. And that maybe not for everybody, but I've listened to several actors from Actors Studio, and I mean, like, some of my favorites, right? Like Meryl Streep, Robert De Niro, Christian Bale, Dustin Hoffman, and Mark Wahlberg. Like, they talk about the same thing. And they talk about, listen, just learn to just love the audition process, especially Dustin Hoffman when he tells his story about doing that. So I'm like, these people they've been around for a couple of movies or a day or two, and they're kind of saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I just learned it to adapt it. Anyway, that's my advice I'd give any new artist, is just kind of know that process and don't let that get to you and take away your art, like that first feeling when you fall in love with it.
That's so incredible. That's incredible advice, and what an incredible story. I think so many people could associate with that feeling of, working with their art, especially that first moment. I got chills when you started talking about that first moment of the script. What has been one of your favorite memories now that you've been at it for a little bit? Now that you're writing, pursuing directing, what's been one of your favorite memories so far?
So I have 3. The first one is the first time I got on set as like pretty much a lead, and it's a movie coming out called Punkin, Punkin, and I'm a bad guy, right? But it was the first time I was really treated that way, where I've been on some big sets. I did some commercials, and I was like, oh, this is like stealing my like art soul. I don't want to do commercials, and it's great for some people, but for me it wasn't. I went to get up to walk across the set, and like 3 people jumped up and they're like, actor on set, like moving people out of the way. And I was like, where? I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. I was just like, I couldn't believe like the kind of respect I was getting. And it was just, it was flattering. And it was just really good feeling. And I feel so comfortable that, when the camera comes up here and the boom comes here and somebody's right up here, it's hard to put into words, but I just really feel at home when I'm there. And so that whole feeling was like, yeah, I can do this. Like, there's literally 60 to 70 people around us right now, and just me and another actor who is playing my wife. Mm-hmm. And like, I just literally blocked it all out. So it was that moment. The second was the first time I dropped an assignment. Now, you know me enough to know like that probably never happens, but I don't know how it happened, but we were supposed to write like a 4-page script for this acting class that I'm in, that is taught by an Academy Award winning coach. So to get into his class isn't easy. It took me 2 years to wait list. I got in, and if you goof once, like, you're gone. Like, he is the most unreasonable son of a that you'll ever meet. He's unbelievable. I can't believe it. But anyway, he's brilliant. And I guess that comes with brilliance, but I didn't write it. And I get to LA and drive all the way from San Diego, get to LA, and I'm like, oh, sweat, I didn't write my script. And so I'm like, I have an hour. I go to Whole
Uh-huh.
Foods, grab a quick bite, and Staples is right there, and I just start writing. And I wrote a story about it's called it's a script, and it got accepted, and it's called Revenge of the Rumor.
Uh-huh.
And I wrote it like in 40 minutes, and I had it printed at Staples, and I didn't have it formatted completely correct because I'm still learning that. Like I didn't know to put like, but I knew enough to put like the scene opens up, blah blah blah. And I gave it to him, and he reads it, and he puts his glasses down. He goes, "You know what? I don't know if you're an actor." I'm like, I saw flashbacks of the, I don't know if you're a speaker. And I go,
Wow.
oh no, not again. He goes, no, I'm just saying, if you wrote this in the last month, this is pretty dang good. Like this would usually take a long time to write. I'm like, oh, like you think? He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, like you wrote it today, right?
Uh-huh.
And he looked at me, he goes, did you just write this? And I just go, well, would you be upset? And he goes, no, if you just wrote this, you should write. If you literally just wrote this just now like that, you should write. Because the
Wow.
dialogue between the actors, the storyline is good, blah, blah, blah. So that was my second moment. And then I think the third biggest moment is just like doing my reel for the first time, being like in a real jail cell. I shot like as a prisoner, and then I was a detective, and having all that work done and having the reel come out and watching it going, it's watchable. Like people can't look at their own work for whatever reason. And I
Mhm.
watched mine, and I was like, you know what? It's pretty believable. I'm not saying it's great, but like I would believe that that guy's a prisoner. I would believe that that guy's a detective. So to think that I could have the range of playing either or
Mhm.
was a favorite moment. I have a long way to go before I'm like one of my heroes. One of my biggest heroes is probably Christian Bale, but
Ooh, okay.
he's one of my favorites, and
Uh-huh.
so is Meryl Streep. Two of my favorites, and then Robin Williams. I have so many, right? I have probably like 7 or 8. But anyway, but just knowing that I'm inching there was
Mhm.
my third favorite.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. So wait, the first thing that you said you have a movie coming out.
Yeah. So I have so Pumpkin is supposed to be coming out. That's the one discouraging part I would tell
Mm.
all new artists is, especially well for actors anyway, like you get on set, you get a part, you do a callback, you shoot it. Most times they're paying you not much, right? They're paying you like
Mhm.
125, but you're getting a credit, a copy, and a meal, and you can't wait to see it, or at least get those credits to build up your resume. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes they don't come out for a year
Right.
and a half. And
Okay.
that is, I didn't realize that at first. So this has been like we shot this like 8 months ago,
Mhm.
but the director just reached out to me, and I think she's up and coming. I've seen a lot of female directors coming out, and they're coming out like a vengeance, and they're just really, I love it because they have a different mindset, right? It's not male versus female, it's just male
Mhm.
and female is the way I look at it. Now maybe I'm all about girl power with 3 daughters, right? But I think that it's interesting to see the diversity, and not just male versus female, but different backgrounds, right? And that's not even always necessarily even about race. It's that too, but it's also about different backgrounds, right? I think it's interesting because they'll have a different story and a different way of
Right.
telling it. And I
Mhm.
think she's up and coming. And there was just little things that she did,
Uh-huh.
um, that when we shot it, it was interesting. So she reached out last week and said, hey, this should be coming out by the end of April. We're going to be putting
Right.
this in film festivals. And, it's not going to be, I mean, eventually it'll probably go on Amazon, right? It's not going to be at the movie theater, but
Uh-huh.
it's a movie that I have like 8 or 9 scenes in, and
Yeah.
there's some, they felt really good. I didn't get to
Uh-huh.
see the dailies. Like they didn't show us much of that. They just showed us some still shots, but the still shots looked really good. So I'm excited about it. Yeah,
That's incredible. So you have to let us know
of
when it comes
course.
out, when it's available for viewing. But you heard it here first, folks. This movie is
Yeah,
coming out.
yeah, that's
Pumpkin.
right. That's right. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Awesome. So, okay, all these stories are absolutely incredible. The script story as well. Whoa. I can't wait to see what you write, talking about your perspective, Anthony's perspective. I can't wait to see
Hmm.
what that looks like. Now we are in a very important part of our episode. Pew, 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 pew. Lasers everywhere. Yes.
All
It's a
right.
party. It's a
Yep.
taco party. It's the taco segment of our conversation. So, Anthony, uh, I know that you are studying method correct?
Yeah, well, like a hybrid method's a big, big part of it, but it's a hybrid. Also Uta Hagen
Okay. All right.
mix, yeah.
So I was thinking that for this, because we are Talk About It Tuesday, you could tell us a monologue from the perspective of a taco, being as realistic as possible.
Perspective of taco.
And yes, this is totally improvised on the fly. I'm asking him to
do?
do a whole monologue.
Okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Vincenzo, and I want to tell you something. I think tacos, they suck, right? Okay. I don't like tacos because we're from Italy. And I don't know if you know this, but this is a fun fact. This is actually a true story, okay? Tacos stole the idea from pizza, and they just made them flap over. That's why they have cheese on there, and they have sauce on there, but they use salsa. They try to put meat on there instead of pepperoni. But let me tell you something. I am not really a taco. I'm really a pizza designed to look like a taco, to let you know that you should always have pizza before having a taco, okay? Now do it now. All right, forget about it. I don't know where that came from.
That was wonderful. That was wonderful. That was a twist I would have never expected and loved it. Perfect.
Yeah. Perfect. Thanks. Yeah.
Vincenzo, that was his name?
Vincenzo, yeah.
Vincenzo.
Yeah, of course. He has to be Vincenzo, right? He can't be Anthony. I'm already Anthony. So I had to go into a different Italian name. There's like 3, actually, maybe more, but.
I love it. Keep an eye out for our next cartoon comedy called Vincenzo.
Vincenzo, the pizza, disguised as a taco.
Written, directed, and starred by Anthony.
Yeah. Anthony Vincenzo, we'll call it. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Anthony. It's been so much fun having you on Talk About It Tuesday. So you are going to have all of your information in our description segment or section of the channel. So everyone scroll down, look at the description to see Anthony and all of his work shown below through his website. Check it out. And obviously you need to keep up to date because he's consistently, he's working. Things are coming out.
Little by little, line by line. It's happening.
Keep up to date with him.
One audition at a time. Yeah. Yeah, awesome.
And Anthony, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. This has been Talk About It Tuesday. Make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked Anthony. And what's not likable about Anthony? I think
just, and if you don't, just pretend to. Just pretend to like it.
Just give us a thumbs up, just for giving a thumbs up. If you give us a thumbs down, we're going to find you and we're going to send Vincenzo on you.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Make sure to check us out every Tuesday with a new artist talking about what they do. And check us out on Saturdays to see a sketch performed by yours truly and another yours truly, Alexandra Zedek. I have had a wonderful talk with you. Thank you for the chance to talk with you.
Thanks, Angelica. Thank you.
And goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.